Hello, Nick River, back to the Academy Crypto video. I hope you guys are doing well, and today we're back with another banger PulseChain video giving us the latest and greatest of crypto news. And more specifically in this video, we're going to cover everything that you need to know to stay up to date with one of the most unique narratives I've seen personally in this cycle. Never done before and only possible on PulseChain. Why are we pumping today? What is the current sentiments looking like? Are we bearish or are we bullish? How many X's are we away to go back to all-time high? And most importantly, what is the next leg up looking like for PDAI? I'm going to cover all the latest story developments, which some of them are actually breaking news within the past few hours. From the pDong, is he back in the storyline? Does this mean that PDAI is actually mintable? We're going to cover that in a second. Do not worry. We're also going to cover some uncertainties, some unknowns, some theories. It's a pretty exciting video. I'm so excited for the future of PulseChain, and thank you very much for tuning in, because that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to cover some highlighted comments. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to all the YouTube members who are choosing to support my small channel. Thank you very much. It means a lot. And of course, from Gandalf here says, another perfect video at the perfect time. Thank you very much. And here, Heart with Dog, bringing crazy value as always. Hope everyone stayed till the end. It is worth it. I 100% agree, delaying with that gratification. And here, Jeff says, I'm balls deep in PDAI and I'm not selling. Best narrative in crypto. And yeah, I do believe so. And this is one thing I wanted to say as well. Whether you support the narrative, whether you believe in it or not, a win for PDAI is actually a win for the rest of the ecosystem, guys. Just think about it. In the previous mini altcoin season that we had towards the end of 2024, one of the biggest onboarding projects was literally PDAI. Like, people were coming in to PulseChain just to buy PDAI. They're like, okay, the only reason why I want to learn, this extremely high barrier for entry to go on PulseChain, and I've never had a non-custodial wallet before, I want to learn to do this, is because of PDAI. So I'm telling you guys, and of course there's a whole nother theory, the Hyperloop theory, where a win for PDAI will be a huge win for the core ecosystem, which I can make a separate video. And I know someone actually commented down below. I'll explain it in a separate video as well. But we're gonna keep that for another time. And here from Mark, it says, always very informative. So yeah, thank you very much guys for commenting down below. It's very much appreciated. It's been a pleasure making these videos for you guys. And looking quickly at the market, we're not really going to do much about looking at the macro, because I've already done that in that previous video. I'm going to keep that for the next video as well. But there's actually some good developments as well in the macro side of things. But yeah, you can see today's is a green day for altcoins, and also for general Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum is again growing at a higher rate of growth than Bitcoin. This is a really, really good sign that we're getting one step closer from the altcoin season. So I'm just telling you guys, very, very exciting stuff. So yeah, you can see here, Bitcoin's at 1.5K. Ethereum is back at 2.5. That's really, really good, because I actually saw it today. It was actually under about that 2.4 level. So I'm glad that we kind of retested and we bounced back to those levels, and hopefully we carry on seeing the ETH BTC ratio continuing to recover. So I'm very excited for the future. And moving on here, just a quick tweet from CZ, and he says, investing in crypto is risky. Not investing in crypto is also risky. So that kind of inspired me to make a tweet here, but PulseChain themed. And this is what I said: investing in PulseChain is risky. Not investing in PulseChain is also risky. So you see what I did there. And then I mentioned Bitcoin to 200K is a 2x, Ethereum to 15K is a 6x, but PulseChain to 1 cent is a 240x. Choose your leverage wisely. Now, of course, there's different kind of trade-offs here, right? PulseChain is a cycle 1 blockchain, giving you the highest potential rate of growth. Ethereum is a cycle 3, giving you more rate of growth than Bitcoin, but with diminishing returns. And of course, Bitcoin being the longest of all, launched in 2009, I believe, giving us the most diminishing returns because of the fact that it's already mainstream. It's already been here for the most number of cycles. So this is the trade-off, right? Bitcoin is generally now kind of looked at less as an investment. Well, a lot of people are still looking at it as an investment vehicle, but we're slowly going towards looking at Bitcoin as a store of value, literally, right? Because as every year goes on, the average yearly return is starting to kind of plateau. And then that's why people look into what? They look into the leverage of Bitcoin, which is Ethereum. And by the way, even Bitcoin is what? It's a leverage of S&P 500, whether you like it or you don't. it kind of is dependent on the S&P 500. What is the S&P 500 a leverage of? Global liquidity. What is it global liquidity? A leverage of, again, it goes back to the money printer. So kind of as I mentioned here, the biggest risk to do is effectively not investing. But again, I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't really speak for you. I'm only speaking for me, right? Because if you leave your money in a savings account in your bank, you're actually losing on buying power year over year. Because your unit number might be the same, but actually the buying power of a dollar value is diminishing year over year, right? Because of inflation. So keep that in mind. You want to be in assets that are either a leverage on the inflation or a hedge against inflation, which people look up to things like a Bitcoin, for example. But again, that's for another video. Moving on, I made another tweet here, which is pretty cool. I really like this. In the past 7 days, the top crypto performers in all of crypto, by the way, was PulseX and Hex, as it was up plus 25%. Hex was up 15%. This is PHEX, by the way. So this is really great. I feel like this can get a lot of eyes from people if, we kind of shout that out and be like, hey, by the way, in the past 7 days, yeah, the biggest gainer was from PulseX and Hex. So I'm going to try to keep an eye on those, little metrics and make more tweets about it. And as I said, as I did here, I mentioned other tokens that I don't necessarily hold, but it's kind of a smart strategy, because now you have people who are holding holding Aave or holding Hype or Radium. They're gonna see, okay, great, I'm happy for Radium, but what was this again? What's this top performer? You know what I mean? They're gonna start getting FOMO. So it's kind of like, it's a really strategic thing for in Twitter that you can do, which is try to engage within other circles. Okay, and people will click on your profile and then they will see, okay, this guy that I just agreed with, this guy that I just liked his tweet or liked his reply, what kind of person is he? You know what I mean? Like, and they're gonna see it and they'll be like, okay, I want to learn more. I've had people DM me who literally were not in crypto at all, and then they saw my profile and they're like, hey, can you help me get into crypto? And then I'll just give them a free coupon of my courses and then be like, go from there. And then this is my Pulsechain. Watch my videos. That is it. I can't give you financial advice, but I get them into Pulsechain like that, and it literally works, guys. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then moving on to just a quick clip here from Richard Hart reminding us about low liquidity. Is it really a bad thing? Because I know a lot of people commented on that, saying like, oh, we no longer have thick liquidity in Pulsechain. For example, even PDAI doesn't have that much liquidity. What does this mean? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Let's see what Richard Hart has to say here.
People are selling Hex like crazy, and it keeps making new all-time highs because as much as people sell into it, there's more demand. The demand exceeds the supply, period, which is the price keeps going up. That's why. Mm-hmm. And so you've never had more liquidity than you have now. But I still get wrecked plebs asking me these stupid questions like, how am I going to be able to sell? You've never been able to sell for more. There was a new all-time high price today. So what is this crap about? What, and I don't know how to disprove it to you guys. Like, I have to come up with this essay to disprove how stupid you guys are. Okay, what if you try to sell all the houses at the same time in the world? The price goes to zero. What if you try to sell the gold at the same time? Price goes to zero. What if you try and sell all the shares at the same time of all the companies? They all go to zero. What if you try and sell the Bitcoin at the same time? It goes to zero. What if you try and sell all the Hex at the same time? It goes to zero. The vast majority of liquidity is not sitting in an order book, being inefficient, being unused, waiting for your dumb, wrecked pleb market sell order, of which you're broke anyway. You can't hurt the price anyway, broke guy. So like...
I love him. He's very blunt, you know what I mean? Like, but it's literally facts what he's saying. So keep that in mind, guys. We're in that phase of Pulsechain where lower liquidity is actually really great. It will help us reach higher heights with less capital. So I'm telling you guys, it's actually more believable now, not only because of the low prices that we're at, but because of the low liquidity that we have. It's more believable to envision 100x for the blue chips. Okay, so I'm very excited for the future. But moving on to some other Richard Hart tweets here. You have Decentralized Me talking about capturing one of the latest Richard Hart tweets here, which is him basically talking about capitalism. Capitalism thrives on competition. Cryptocurrency thrives on decentralization. A bill which cripples competition by deciding what code you can write and what code people can run from the privacy of their own homes is un-American. And one must ask themselves, Why would certain people be promoting a bill which prevents someone for giving you free coins, a bill which prevents yield? Why would any consumer possibly prefer than a megacorp have to keep the yield instead of giving it to the users? Explain USDC, USDT, DAI stable coin, stable genius. Interesting. And then this is what Decentralized Me had to say. He says, Richard has begun highlighting the importance of having a truly decentralized stable, highlighting PDAI's product market fit. That's perfect word for that. Proposed legislation like this is perfect timing. The need becomes undeniable. Soon people will learn PulseChain is true DeFi and PDAI is to be its crown jewel. PDAI to $1. Now, also, PDAI, 9iron Capital also kind of quote tweeted one of the latest Richard Hart tweets, which he said here, the Genius Act basically corrals stablecoins into the banking world. No interest payouts. This is actually crazy. Only licensed banks and buddies can issue them. And your favorite decentralized stablecoin might be outlawed. TLDR, it's a stablecoin crackdown that protects incumbents and could handcuff DeFi innovation, USDC, USDT, and DAI. And this is what 9iron had to say. And he said, Richard knows PulseChain is reliant on bridged-in e-stables and will force KYC soon. Interesting. All of PulseChain's attempts at stablecoins will be illegal too, and those teams will cave. PulseChain's only hope is PDAI. No team, no off-switch, no KYC. PDAI epitomizes Richard Hart's decentralized ethos, and especially the fact that we've kind of turned off the maker system. Will there be a kind of a maker's DAO replacement for PDAI that's going to be even more decentralized? I'm going to be very, very interested to see. But now, in terms of kind of one of the latest news, but before we jump into pDong, we're going to talk about the wallet, which is the one that bridged in with 555.55 Ethereum. Now, I do have it here. I'm using Pulsefolio, so big shout out to the Pulsefolio team. This is I'm using it where I just copy the address right here, and then this is a really great portfolio tracker. They also have other stats on their website, and yeah, you can see what they're holding. So this is the wallet that bridged in 555 Ethereum. What have they been buying? They've been buying a lot of PulseX. They've been holding a lot of Pulse, a lot of INC, the liquid gold. You guys already know I love that. And then look at this. A lot of PDAI, ladies and gentlemen. 32,015 million worth of PDAI. Interesting. Now, you can see that I think they were also buying SolidX. I'm not sure if they bought these other tokens. Most likely they might have been airdropped, but a lot of people, so keep that in mind. You probably do want to look at the transactions. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. We'll see people's thoughts on this 555 and how significant it is. So from here, a tweet from Pulse.win says something strange with this wallet. The wallet that bridged 555.55 Ethereum to PulseChain made 2 purchases of PDAI each for 0.55 Ethereum. Most people should know this by now, but now things get really interesting. According to DBank, this wallet has been active for 730 days, but Otterscan shows a first transaction 734 days ago. In the meantime, there was also a transaction back to Ethereum, also with this wallet. This wallet is exclusive to Pulse. And this is where things get explosive. The ETH transaction took place on May 11th, guys. Okay, 2 days before PulseChain has been officially officially announced that it's launched. So again, this is crazy. Just 2 days before the launch, there you go, he said it, on May 13th. And anyone who's familiar with PDAI knows exactly what happened on May 11th. Even more curious, the wallet bridged exactly 550 ETH to PulseChain on its 2nd birthday. Maybe I'm a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy nerd, but that's a hell of a lot of coincidences all at once. And you guys already know me. I don't believe in any coincidences. The question is, who is this guy and who had access to Pulse before all of us? That's purely a matter of interpretation, but everyone can figure it out for themselves. Take a look at what he's been buying, and there are some really exciting purchases here, and giving us some screenshots. Again, kind of what I showed you guys. So I'm very, very excited, and this is what Decentralized Me had to say about this. Okay, and he's referring it to as an AMM bot. So this is what he had to say. Richard, and or his team are buying PDAI. Pulsechain's automated market maker address has bridged across 555.55 ETH and has begun buying PDAI. Interestingly, during testnet, it did a dry run of this. It bridged in ETH and then began buying PDAI. Liquidity is low, and this is a lot of capital. I hope your bags are packed. We are about to boom. Again, going back to that whole point, liquidity is low, which means we're going to easily be able to pump. So guys, I'm actually really excited. We're going to take this chance to also look into the chart real quick. You can see that PDAI is up to 0.22, guys, 0.022, up 14% on the day, clearly indicating a reversal, trend reversal. So big shout out to everyone who's been kind of DCing at these levels, you know, and clearly identifying that it's been undervalued right now. And yeah, so far where we are to back to all-time high of 0.034 is around a 15x, guys. Wow, a 15x to go back to all-time high. I remember when that number used to be like 100 or something, wasn't it? Almost 100, yeah. It's 44x. I think, yeah, it was technically 100 in those candles, because I remember I woke up and I was like, whoa, you know, and I started buying the dip effectively, or ratio trading as some people like to call it. So yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. And remember, this is kind of referring back to my other video that I made, which is how far can PDAI reach in 2025. And I made this yellow box. So this is where I really believe the next leg up for PDAI is going to be, guys, anywhere from that 8 to 12 cents, really. And again, do remember, this is not financial advice. This is not guaranteed gains. I can be wrong. I don't have a crystal ball. Okay, I'm not an expert or certified trader, guys. Okay, this is my second bull run. Yes, I know how to make money. Yes. Do I care about being right? No. So please do understand this. You have to have a probabilistic approach. Anticipate for both events, guys. Okay, this is why you need to diversify. This is why you need to understand where your personal risk tolerance is. My videos are educational. My videos are kind of a look into my thought process. Okay, this is what I'm doing, not necessarily what you should do. Okay, so keep that in mind. Please understand this. But you know, big shout out to everyone who's been in this journey with us. Obviously, do remember to join the Telegram link in the description. You ask any questions to the community or to me as well. But yeah, PDAI has such a beautiful looking chart. Look at this. Very perfect. It goes up. The motive phase, corrective phase, motive phase, corrective phase, motive phase. Corrective is a huge corrective phase, don't get me wrong, and that's possibly to do obviously with the events that we had, and as well for macro conditions that also happened. We've been impeded a lot by geopolitics, etc. But right now I'm telling you, with what's been going on with geopolitics and how it hopefully is going more towards, you know, obviously end of quantitative tightening and towards quantitative easing, and a bunch of other things with obviously Trump and even you know, stuff like the world peace, you know, with the stuff that's going on with Ukraine, etc. So it really is exciting stuff, guys. Okay, I'm looking forward for the future of Pulsechain. There is going to be an altcoin season. I have seen other people who are still iffy that we're going to see an altcoin season. I like to believe in it. Yes, I sound very optimistic, but you know what? I like to be realistically optimistic. So yeah, so stay tuned, guys. You know, keep believing. All right, this is a believers only bull run. This is how you make the most amount of money. You make the trades, less number of trades, the better, because then you're gonna make less mistakes. Okay, take this from me. I've made mistakes where in this previous bull run and in this bull run, like, you know what I mean, nobody's perfect really. You continue to learn. You just continue to learn, really, as long as it hopefully it's not expensive mistake. This is why I try to make these videos, so that you guys don't go through what I went through. Like, be careful of the shiny object syndrome, where people you know, jump from whatever they were holding, which is a, you know, for example, a blue chip, right? People selling their PulseX to jump on a new project to kind of, you know, go after the green candles that are already happening, and then they end up losing because that project didn't have any longevity, right? Which is why I don't really like the pump tire tokens, in my opinion, guys. Okay, I don't really like him. Is because it's literally just an image that anyone can launch their own pump tire tokens. Now, obviously, this is probably an exception for the ones that Richard Hart himself launched, like, you know, Pump and the other ones. but I'm personally not as heavy in them compared to obviously the actual core ecosystem, right? With PulseX, Hex, and INC, EHEX, PDAI, PWC, like those are. This is what I really, really believe in. Everything else kind of seems like, you know what I mean? Even though it is a meme, right? And that's kind of the main meta of this bull run. So as long as you believe in it, you hold it. Okay, so I don't need to believe in everything that you believe in. We can have multiple projects that win. So keep that also in mind. As long as you've made up your mind, you've done your research, you have your thesis, you really believe in it as well. You're not only going into projects because you're feeling the FOMO. Please understand this, okay? Because 9 times out of 10, you shouldn't be buying a project because you feel FOMO. You should be buying a project because you've done extensive research, because you've evaluated that it is also, it has higher odds for the number to go up in the future, in the mid to long term, and also that it is currently undervalued. Don't, unless you have obviously a lot of buying risk capital, don't just go into projects that are overvalued, guys. For example, Bitcoin's overvalued for me. I used to hold basically one Bitcoin before I went to PulseChain, and I rotated that all into PulseChain, guys, at the beginning, and it has been the greatest decision ever. And guess what? Guess what? From the gains I'm gonna make, I'm gonna buy that one Bitcoin back again. I can even be strategic and hold stablecoins up until the best point of the bear market, where it's gonna correct back again. I can buy that Bitcoin. I can hold it. I can even buy probably 2 Bitcoins at that point, 2 or more. Like, you know what I mean? So anyways, so really think like that. You change the way that you process buying opportunities. Don't wait for like influencers to talk about something, because by the time they do, guys, it's actually probably too late, by the way. So buy the red candles, okay? Buy something that people are not talking about yet. Be somewhere where others are not yet, okay? Information asymmetry. That's what differentiates the losers from the winners, or the winners from the losers. So keep that in mind as well. Anyways, now we're going to go back to where we are. We're going to quickly cover this whole pDong thing, okay? So the Vietnamese wallet, which is the 5996, today, look at this. This is a transaction from today where they minted 50,000 PDAI from the DAI join contract. So what's going on? Whoa. That it says mint. Somewhere it said mint, actually. Sorry, it was somewhere here. Yeah, tokens mint technically, right? But it was using the function exit, so keep that in mind. That's basically just a clarification that I wanted to say. So yeah, people might be scared, but a big shout out to Matt here. Says this was a vault exit, so one of the pre-existing vaults you can no longer mint, obviously, right? So yeah, but you can see that for some reason they are back in activity. You can see the wallet that he minted it to. So it's the 5996 that called it the wallet, but it airdropped it to the 5cc7 wallet here. And you can see the PDAI, how much they've been receiving and how much they're holding now. We can see their wallet. You can see it's around 32,000. And I'm using this pulsewatch.app as a website. It looks pretty cool. Apparently, I think it's from the OG web ecosystem. So yeah, pretty good looking website. I really like that. So yeah, that's kind of the story behind pDong. I think honestly, we're gonna move past this Vietnamese hacker. I don't really want to see him again, but it's still unknown, right? Because I remember one of the live streams of the Atropa dev, he mentioned, I'm not sure if it was like 9 days or something like that, which effectively took us to 19th of May, which is today's the 9th day or whatever X day that he said. It landed on the 19th. So is this the significant thing that happened, which is on the 19th, which is the pDong guy, or was it the 555.55 wallet? Is it all interconnected? Is there a relationship between those people? Is Atropa, speaking with Richard Hart? Are we seeing an orchestration of events? We don't know, guys. We don't know. So the best thing to do is actually literally nothing. Okay. So personally for me, I've already placed my bet on PDAI. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to react. I'm actually enjoying the show. It's been pretty entertaining. Okay. It's been the most entertaining bear market so far. But now moving on to kind of other interesting tweets here. This is from Binance. And guys, you probably has been catching up with Binance tweets. You probably know about the one that said, turns out my pulse is pegged to Binance, using terminology that is quite literally to do with Pulsechain and to do with PDAI. And it's crazy here with obviously the X, which is the PulseChain X, and then you have even more PulseX, the PulseX X's, and then here the actual same heartbeat for PulseChain right there. And now one of the recent ones here, the real reason I don't need cardio anymore, and this kind of looks like an M, which reminds me of the MakerDAO logo. So again, really crazy stuff, guys. Like, this is no longer like, oh, it's not even funny. Like, this is not a coincidence after a coincidence. Again, I don't even believe in coincidences. So this is what this guy had to say here. What's going on with Binance's post? I'm actually very skeptical about Binance trolling, mimicking Pulsechain, and even similar to the PMaker logo. But I have some wild ideas so far, and let's see what he has to say. Pulse references everywhere, candlestick charts integrated with heartbeat visuals, a literal pulse in text and symbolism matching visual motifs to the Pulsechain brand, direct reference to the peg. That's exactly what I said. And here it says testing sentiment before listing PDAI or other Pulse assets, teasing Oracle or peg mechanisms. So yeah, that might be a little bit of a stretch there, but we shall see. Help with Oracle's price feeds or wrapped assets. Last time Richard Hart said that we don't need an Oracle. What if it turns out the Oracle will be in a different aspect? For your information, Binance has an Oracle cross-chain Oracle hub via Binance Oracle product. Binance has its own Binance Oracle infrastructure similar to Chainlink. They could integrate PDAI into that feed, enabling price discovery on other chains, BSC, Ethereum, lending, borrowing, dApps to accept PDAI. Effect, PDAI becomes cross-chain usable with credible price feeds, dramatically increasing demand and peg strength. Anyway, it's just my delusional idea, since I got this idea from my dream last night, and suddenly I found another Binance pick again. Just some idea how to peg. Do your own research. You know what? I respect that, because you were very honest saying that it was a dream. And you know what? I love it. The fact that even though, yes, it might seem a little bit far-fetched, I'd rather hear this from someone who really believes in this. Okay, he didn't write this just to make a tweet. Some of this is who really believes in it, and this is the right people that we need to have in a community, right? Because you can remember, we need people who believe. By the way, I was gonna say, sorry, I'm really I'm speaking a little bit too quick here. I need to actually relax a little bit. I was gonna say, this is the type of people that will make it in this cycle, okay? Because you can tell he believes, and I believe that's actually the Atropa. Is that the Atropa plant? Ooh, that actually looks good. So yeah, this just reminded me with the whole point of community is actually the value of a project. And yes, PDAI obviously is way beyond this whole mission token. It's actually bigger than how many X's are we away from $1. If you think about it, guys, PDAI, the story of PDAI is crazy. It's bigger than how many gains are we to make if it reaches $1. It's much bigger than that. Okay, we have wallets are being frozen. The new latest stablecoins, DAI, the original DAI is being basically decommissioned, the one on Ethereum. We have a snapshot of the legacy MakerDAO before they got rebranded to Sky, before they started working on USDS. You know what I mean? Like, and now we have the stuff which is that Richard Hart talked about, which is the of course it's called the Genius. What is it called again? The Genius Act. So it's crazy, guys. I'm telling you. There's now going to be not just a need, but a demand for a solution that is truly decentralized. And what a better place than Pulsechain to host this true DeFi kind of a product, or whatever, true DeFi instrument. Okay, it's really, really exciting stuff. I'm so excited. And now moving on to kind of another final, we're going to end this video here with a hypothetical timeline. Okay, so this is one of the possibilities of what PDAI could look like in the next few weeks. So here's a realistic and bullish narrative timeline for how PDAI can peg to $1 from its current 0.002 level based on liquidity dynamics, market psychology, and strategic positioning. Stage 1, the reawakening. So from 0.002 to back to 1 penny. So, and I think, yeah, 1 penny is kind of like that psychological, but I really do believe going back to all-time high is going to be even better, right? Because now we're going to show people, hey, we went down, right? A huge correction. Now we have even less liquidity. So, of course, it's going to be easier for us to go back to all-time high. And the fact that once we break all-time high, it's going to be price discovery. It's going to be exciting, bro. It's going to be exciting. And this is, by the way, now just imagine when we have a little bit of certainty, right? When we have just a little bit of certainty, people will FOMO back in. And you will see people that, by the way, and I've seen our friend Somi tweet about it, where, for example, big shout out to like the Pulse price alerts. I like their tweets, but, Somi was talking about how they blocked him for talking about PDAI, and then now they are the ones that are giving updates about, this one bought PDAI, etc., etc. I was like, bro, don't switch up. And I hate people who switch up, guys. Okay? Like, don't switch up. You were someone who criticized me for talking about PDAI, and now come a few months or a few weeks later when everything's all green and dandy, everything is bullish, and all of a sudden you wanna put PDAI in your description. You wanna start talking about, oh yeah, PDAI is gonna go to $1. Nah, do not switch up. Because what I mean, I don't care. I don't want to hear people saying, oh well, now it's fixed, so that's why I'm holding it again. Nah, bro. Now, what differentiates you and me are the buy prices. Let me just say, the people who believed from the beginning, right? I didn't FUD anyone out of their PDAI bags, but you contributed to a lot of people. A lot of people, guys, they name called, they blocked, and I'm still blocked by Hex Scouts. Imagine, bro. Why? That's a great question. They made a tweet where they were like, oh, and by the way, no hate. I at least don't have a hate towards Hex Scout, but it's just a crazy story, and I'm still blocked by like other influencers that I've literally never even spoken with. I think what's one of the girl influencers? I forgot her name. She's Australian, I think, as well. I forgot her name. Katie, I think. Yeah, Katie. She blocked me as well for I don't know, for no reason. And Hex Scout, it was one of the tweets where they were like, "Oh, we're gonna imagine, guys, yeah." They and I don't know why they thought they were forced in a position to make that tweet at the beginning. I don't get it. Like, sometimes people try to be heroes. Like, bro, just relax. We're in crypto. Just sometimes the best thing to do is just literally let the events go. Sentiments will fade. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to try to step in, especially when you have a bad a bad suggestion, which is what they proposed, which was, oh, we're going to compile a list of content creators who are supporting PDAI narrative. And basically they're saying that this list, they're going to warn them from other people to watch or whatever. You know what I mean? Like making a blacklist within PulseChain. Imagine PulseChain, the chain that supports freedom of speech, freedom of movement. You can hold whatever the hell you want. You don't need to choose between PHEX or PDAI. You can hold both. You know what I mean? EHEX, Richard Hart literally killed EHEX in last March. Guess what? I can still go and buy it. I can still go and believe it. Is Richard Hart going to call me an idiot and whatever? No, he's not, bro. It's like, it's still flawless at the end of the day. Like, it's so crazy. People can believe in whatever they want to believe in. Like, that's what we represent. And now they're talking about, oh, we're going to compile a list of people who are supporting PDAI. And so I commented and I said, hey, do we really want to go down this route? And plus, what do you define as support? Because you have people who are making videos on PDAI just to report the news. They're not even saying that they're supporting it, right? And I was going to say, people like Somi, for example, he is a net positive for PulseChain. I don't care if you do not support PDAI, but when you watch his videos, he talks a lot about the macro side of things, which, by the way, people watch him who are probably not even holding PulseChain. And he just generally talks about PulseX. He talks about everything else. Hex, like, he's very long on the blue chips of PulseChain, not just PDAI. Like, he's not some random degen, guys. You know what I mean? Like, he actually helped me on board onto PulseChain, guys. When I started watching his videos back in August of 2023, like, I was watching his videos to understand him and Dr. Hixologist and Crypto Coffee. Yeah, Crypto Coffee. Those three people, guys, I was watching. They were huge, very inspirational. And the way that Somi was talking about, you can tell he's a veteran. He's a seasoned investor. Like, come on now. He knows what he's talking about. The guy's taking his bet with PDAI. So what? He never said it's going to go to $1. He just says, I believe in something. What's up? So anyways, I made that comment. Guess what? They didn't even reply. They just blocked. Yes, bad luck. Anyways, we're going to move on, man. We're going to move on. And yeah, here's what I say. Stage 1, the reawakening, 0.02 to 1 penny. Okay. Timeline, 0 to 2 weeks. So Only 2 more weeks, guys. That's the meme. I love it. Community conviction strengthens as traders notice deepened LP and resistance to sell pressure. Speculators and OGs who exited low start rebuying. Whales rotate profits into PDAI for the narrative, betting on the peg play. Smart money begins stealth accumulation, front-running the peg. We've already seen smart money because we got the 5555 wallet. Who is behind that? Only God knows. Price pushes up to 0.05 to 0.01 range. Ooh, that's so sick. Because 0.01, like it's a penny. At that point, we're going to be at like 99x to $1. Hopefully, we're going to go back to 33x to $1. And now, you know, at the 10-cent mark, only a 10x. And let me tell you, by the way, the closer we are to that $1 mark, the bigger the buy orders we will see. Because we'll see whales that are just waiting for, you know, less uncertainty. And once they see, okay, all right, this seems like there's less uncertainty. Now I'm more confident to drop 100K clip into this. Like I'm telling you, this is kind of part of the whole positive feedback loop. This is how it works. Okay. And it's all related as well with volume. The higher volume, the higher buys, right? So it is really exciting, honestly. Stage 2, the mid-stage shockwave from 0.1, so 1 cent to 10 cents. That's kind of, again, that's exactly up the alley of where I said is the next leg up. Timeline 2 to 6 weeks. Chart starts to go parabolic. Volume spikes. Again, remember, the volume is very important. Yes, it comes with volatility, but this is really, really good. Influencers. Let me just double check my marker's working. Yep, thank God. Influencers, CT personalities. Apologies, I don't know what CT personalities. Content something. Crypto technical analysts. Personalities, I don't know. And even old haters begin calling PDAI the comeback of the cycle. Arbitrage bots get involved across bridges, especially ETH, PulseChain, and LP gets more balanced. The community creates liquidity incentives, farms, burn pools, etc., or simply anchors emotional to $1. Stage 3, the peg attempt. So from 10 cents to $1, timeline 6 to 12 weeks. LP depth increases rapidly. Narrative takes hold. PDAI is the DeFi. Hold on. I love this. PDAI is the DeFi stablecoin that they can't ban, bro. Oh, what a slogan. Calls for DEXs to use PDAI as a base pair grow. Whatever that means, base pair grow. Projects launch native pairs. CZ, Elon, Richard Hart, conspiracy memes go viral. People front run the narrative. A key whale or maker actor, rumored or real, pushes liquidity to lock the peg around $1. Interesting. We shall see what kind of MakerDAO replacements there will be. And I covered in the previous video that it could be INC, guys. INC could be, because it is it could be as a DAO token. INC can be used as that. So the psychological peg. Post $1 timeline sustained over time. PDAI trades between 0.97 to $1.03, like traditional stablecoins. Trust increases. Onboards to other chains as a legitimate or as a legit alternative to USDC, USDT, and DAI. Real use cases: DEX routing, escrow, bridging, and begin. How it works out technically: no admin keys means no backdoor minting. Peg is maintained organically via LP arbitrage, demand, and community-backed liquidity. Liquidity gets so deep it becomes uneconomical to break the peg, just like a DAI early days. Pulsechain becomes home for the freedom stable. I like that. So yeah, TLDR, sentiment shift, hype wave, peg lock in. That's so excited. Then it's not a stablecoin project anymore. It's a resistance movement backed by code. Bro, this is sick. I love it. It's a very good tweet. Thank you so much. Fear is lying. I will give you a follow just for that. I appreciate all your tweets, actually, because I actually do read them. So for example, here, look here, it says, the PDAI narrative is playing out exactly like it was meant to. And if you've been paying attention, this was all in the blueprint. Check out the weekly chart. It's unfolding just like I shared 2 weeks ago. The breakout wasn't random. The LP injection wasn't luck. This is the quiet rise of a stablecoin that doesn't ask for permission. It just exists. No admin keys, no issuer, no choke points. Referring to an oracle, which could be a single point, a single point of failure. The system tried to kill it, but it's still here, stronger, smarter, and now noticed. The mission is simple: stability without control, DeFi without compromise, freedom in code. Keep watching, stay sharp. We're just getting started. Wow. Guys, you are witnessing history. So I'm just saying, a quick reminder, if you're watching this video and you've reached the end, you are truly a winner. You might not know this, but I promise you, you have information asymmetry over 99% of other investors and traders within crypto, guys. Okay, you are here when others are not. So big congratulations for that. You have not capitulated in the past few weeks and months that we've had. It's been a terrible Q1 for altcoins. Okay, undeniably, I gotta say this, 100%. We had a beautiful end to 2024, very, very strong. And, obviously Ethereum had its worst performing bull 1 month, which is January. February was, again, okay-ish. And now we're just starting to see that sentimental reversal, which is pretty cool. And yeah, you deserve it. Okay, so we will make it, guys. Remember, believe in the process, believe in God. Big shout out to the man above. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I'm going to end the video there. And do remember, if you want to watch any of my courses for free, just use the code free. I just appreciate if you guys would leave a rating as well. It would really help me to kind of showcase my course in the future. I don't need to make money with it now. I want you guys to really protect yourselves from crypto operation security, understand the attack vectors, especially if your portfolio is holding above $1,000. Okay, you need to know what I've covered in these courses, especially in this one. Again, it's just a 6 video part series, 1.5 hours long. You will learn a lot from this, so go check it out. Use the code free for a free coupon, and of course join the Telegram link in the description. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, guys. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.